Did you know on Sunday morning, Jack Tame issued a fact check at the end of Q&A about the actual number of full-time equivalent nurses hired by Te Whatu Ora by the Coalition?
The total number of full-time equivalent nurses in New Zealand has increased by 54.
Now, this is an issue. Media coverage over the last 3 years has shown us really clearly that there are serious concerns from within the health sector about this, that it's having a clear impact on the health of people and the ability to deliver healthcare services, despite all of those promises that firing thousands of people would somehow not do that. And, if you believe that, then, well, I've got this great bridge to sell you today. It's hardly been used, it has some pretty lights that shine at night, and it could be yours for a really simple down payment right now. Just give me a DM for details. However, you may have missed the news because, well, there's been no mainstream coverage on it, not even on One News, which makes Q&A. There has been a few muted guffaws at Simeon's claim that Luxon is an absolute asset for the party. But this interview was timed suspiciously well to coincide with National's little do it our way or else compromise about what they, the party that spent millions on no ferries or flying the Prime Minister and his wife around on military helicopters and those road cone hotlines and tobacco company kickbacks, called fiscal responsibility rules. But also this weekend was the due date for that rushed, undemocratic amalgamation plans to be locked in by local councils as well, which means that there was a lot of noise to block out any bad interview that might occur when someone tries to hold the liar-in-chief behind this campaign of misleading billboards to some kind of account. Now, I don't know the editorial reasons that this wasn't covered, but me and my fancy media degrees do know what happens when media doesn't keep calling out political bullshit when it happens. You start with a loss of accountability, because the pressure is taken off the politicians to actually answer for what they've done in any kind of publicly accessible way. It means that they're less likely to be called out on it by voters because the awareness level isn't there, and with the election now under 90 days away, that lack of pressure will be making National and Simeon the Deceiver really happy. It also creates this asymmetry around information for audiences. One fact check not given more coverage by mainstream media suddenly becomes something that those who don't watch that media or don't trust that media suddenly don't see as valid. That reputation is important for the data to stick. It also devaluates long-form journalism and investigation when something really important that impacts not just the people directly involved but a huge chunk of the rest of the country isn't given the platform it needs to drive actual accountability, which weakens the impact of this kind of long-form journalism as a whole, which is so scary to the Prime Minister that he's been unable enough to grow a spine for almost 2 years to sit in a studio with Jack Tame because, he fumbles when he's under real media pressure. Oh, and it creates this false sense of balance because media is not pushing the correction of a long-pushed narrative with the fact-check to counter it. That's why Sunday's Coffee and Context is actually going to be on the dangers of media imbalance if you want to come along and check that out. Without a sustained media follow-up across print, radio, TV, digital outlets, officials can eclipse facts with distractions and bullshit, allowing the false balance to become the dominant narrative. And if you don't think it happens, then check out the people on the Facebook comment sections from mainstream media who simply can't bring themselves to believe actual fact-check data because they drank the Kool-Aid. That's why stories like this piece from Newsroom on people calling out misleading bullshit from National is important, and why we need to keep doing that. Because for whatever reason, media can't or won't do it for us all the time, and in under 90 days, that could mean another terrible election outcome for all of us who aren't wealthy, entitled, and sorted with free helicopter rides around the country. Hello there, podcast listeners. Kia ora. Don't mind me, I'm putting on my shoes because I'm just ducking out to the supermarket real quick. But really interesting one about today's piece. Somebody pointed out to me that there's been no media coverage about the fact check that happened on the weekend with Jack Tame on Q&A over the number of nurses that had been actually hired by the Coalition. And there should be. I think there might have been more if they were able to do that live with Simeon there instead of a pre-record, but obviously that didn't happen, which is, a shame. But it also meant that Sunday was a really super busy day for other media things to happen, like the amalgamation stuff for local councils. It was fascinating. But one of the things I found the most fascinating since I recorded this, actually, is that presentation that National had on Sunday, where they're like, compromise means doing it our way and doing what we say. Bullshit right-wing compromise at the best of times. They admitted in there that, they didn't actually know what were in other parties' fiscal plans, and that they recognised that the parties themselves might not be ready to share them. But Simeon's back on his bullshit today, talking about the missing $18 million, and now they've launched a new website. Yay! It's just so ridiculous. Like, constant bullshit, constant spin, and no real pushback, and that's the part that's pissing me off. But we'll get there. I am seriously tempted, though, to do like a give a little page to raise enough funds to hire a really big billboard to put up an ad just going, fuck this lot, triple the deaths, triple the number of people leaving the country, triple the homeless numbers, because that's something that's opinion, apparently, and not fact. It's just so ridiculous. Yeah. On the bright side, though, I did see that Chris Hipkins has formally ruled out working with New Zealand First after the election. Thank God for that. I didn't want to go down to the line of the election and be like, it's good to see. It's good to see. I still want to see more teeth from Chippy. Like, I want to see him get out there and bare teeth at the public. Well, not at the public, with the public, at the coalition. Because I think then people might start to see that he can be passionate about what's going on. And I think that he's very analytical, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm very analytical. But seeing that passion could be something that helps engage audiences and voters more into potentially seeing him as the next Prime Minister, because there shouldn't be this closer gap in preferred Prime Minister status. But that's just my opinion. All of this, everything I say is just my opinion. Usually informed by some sort of information. Anyway, I'm going to go to the supermarket and I will leave you guys to it. Enjoy today's episode. I did have fun with the 1980s style cheesy sitcom advertising thing. So I should do more of that. That'll be fun. All right, I'm going to leave you guys to it. See you.